Good evening, everybody. My name is Samantha Bryant. I'm running for the position of Vice President Internal. As I look around this room, I hope you see what I see, because I see the highly valued and leading innovators, scientists, mathematicians, engineers that our vision speaks about. I see not only the future leaders of SHED, but the future leaders of academia and industry. So if you don't yet look around and see that same thing, I hope you do by the time that I'm done as Vice President Internal. This past year, I had the opportunity to be secretary. So I got to work in a way that you receive information and learn about events and see your points through the database. Through this, I learned what events need to happen, when, and why. Because of this, I want to do a track system similar to what you see at Nationals and at RLDC. Because as VPI, it is my job to ensure that this organization is running smoothly, that events are made possible through things like room reservations, and that we are getting the recognition that we deserve both nationally and regionally through things like the NRP, all of which I'm lucky to have experience with. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to become leaders within SHED. So share your experiences, foster growth within each other. Remember that this chapter is only as strong as the familia is, because every single one of you have something to bring to the table. So I want to work with each of you to bring out your strengths and work on your weaknesses, because ultimately, your success and the success of this chapter is what matters to me. Thank you.
Okay, so you talked about strengths, weaknesses, challenges. So for you, what was your biggest challenge? What did you learn from it, and how do you plan on implementing that as VPI?
For me personally?
Yes.
Okay.
For you.
So I know going into the position of secretary, I had no idea what was going on. So I was a brand new member. I was running because I really felt that I could make a difference. I kind of had ideas of what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wasn't super ready. And one of those things is that I'm extremely introverted. So I know I'm out here giving you guys speeches, so you might not notice that, but that's definitely my biggest weakness and something that I've been working on. I know it's something that Danielle tells me every day, like, hey, make sure that you're talking to everybody, and it's something that I've grown a lot in.
How would you implement that?
So I want to make sure that all of you understand that, yes, we all come from different types of leadership. Some of us are extroverts, some of us are introverts. So I think it's important to recognize what kind of person everybody is, so you can kind of connect on that level. So I know it took somebody like Bozo to get me out of my shell, but for other people it might take somebody like me who's more reserved to kind of make sure that you are growing professionally, because you can't always be out there, things like that.
As VPI, you know what? I got to see your recap.
Okay, so as VPI, you're in charge of, you're kind of like a step in if the president is gone. You're also in charge of the e-board as well, maintaining some of the calm whenever the president's not there. And one of your big things is also the mentorship group. So what do you want to do in order to, increase maybe activity within that? Or, for example, I'm part of the group me, and sometimes I see things that shouldn't be said on there. And like, what are you going to do in order to keep the organization in check, and also like keep the e-board in check?
So I'm a big advocate, I guess, for transparency. So I know that's one thing that we as a chapter has grown better on, so making sure everybody understands what's happening with point systems and stuff like that. So that's something I want to continue bringing to the table. So of course, when it comes to people not saying what they're supposed to, we need to make an example in the sense that you can shut it down, but shut it down in a nice way, and then maybe approach the person later and tell them, hey, this is why you can't do, and make sure that you're not breaking any ties. So I know this is actually an issue that's come up in the past with some of our chairs, where you have to be very careful as to how you communicate an issue and what you're going to do about it. So I have had some experience with that in the past because of things that have happened across this year. So it's just something to continue doing, so making sure you're communicating properly.
One quick question. So, I mean, we've had the pleasure to work with you, and you're running unopposed, of course. And we see what you're capable of, your communication skills. very well. But I see your workload for the next year, and you're gonna be a senior, right? So I know for chemical engineer, it's very important your design project, and time is gonna be an issue. So how do you plan to balance that? Because now at VPI, it's not the same thing as the secretary. As VPI, you are gonna stand as one of the pillars of the chapter. You're gonna be standing there, and people are gonna approach you. It's a lot of time that will be consumed to you. How are you gonna keep that chef energy in your members while at the same time balancing your academics?
Right, so going into the position of secretary, I knew that I was going into junior year Chemie, so Big Four, you hear it all the time, like these are the worst classes you're going to take. And yet, I've managed to balance it now, and I plan on balancing it later. And of course, I've worked closely with you, so I know exactly what the position entails. And I know what I'm capable of in terms of academics. And also, I have a 4-day weekend next year, so that's also going to help in balancing when we can meet with sponsors, when we can meet with the chairs, when we can meet with everybody. So